Alrighty, a question to you lot. Can you be virtuous in business? I firmly believe you can. But I know many of you will have been told or believe that business is a dog-eat-dog world, that it's very much survival of the fittest, etc., etc. And whilst I may have believed that some years ago, I no longer do. And what I'm finding is that the more of a virtuous path you take, the more your business goes in one direction, and also the more business starts flowing back to you. And I was reminded of this by listening to a track this morning, something that I now listen to every day actually, a track in Spotify by a band called Mount Wolf, I think spelt with an E. And the track is of an audio monologue of a rather wonderful guy called Burgs, B-U-R-G-S, whom is somebody that had chosen a corporate career path before chucking it all in and almost doing the cliche of heading off around the world and eventually becoming a monk. And in this track, he states that a fortunate human being is one that has figured out how to be both virtuous and mindful. And his words really resonate with me, and hence why I listen to it every day, because he also talks about how you should simplify your life because it is far too complicated. We do accrue far too many things. We commit ourselves to far too many things, and life should be simple, and we really should be enjoying every day, etc., etc. So being mindful is obviously a very common topic these days, and I think with daily practice it gets easier and easier. And I also think that even in business, even in the corporate world, if you can crowbar in mindful activity throughout the day, and all that really means is just being in the present, which initially is quite tricky. Being in the present without that that monkey mind tripping over and distracting you. It's worth it though. Do give it a go. Keep practicing because it really does have profound benefits. Now, the being virtue thing in business, I think, especially when you run your own business, is definitely possible, but it's also challenging. So I'd love to hear from you lot. If you believe you are somebody who is virtuous in business, I'd love to know how you go about doing it and what challenges you've come across. Like I said, it is possible, and I am faced with those challenges, and quite often it's to do with value, isn't it? You know, if you believe what you offer has a value, then in business that value often relates to your being paid an amount of money. You know, when I think back to humans living communally, in a communal environment rather, most folk had a skill. Let's say you were a blacksmith, and quite often you would exchange your service for that of somebody else with another skill, let's say the carpenter, and it would be a fair exchange, wouldn't it? I'll make your horseshoes for you if you can just knock up a cupboard or whatever it is they used to make each other back then. And I guess the tricky thing nowadays is that if you provide a service especially, it's sometimes difficult to attribute a monetary value to that service. And hence why quite often I'm quite flexible in my thinking, you know, especially if working with startup businesses, then I know that their cash flow is king, that if in a way I can split my fee over a couple of months, I'll happily do that. So I guess then I'll end this now with that question. Is it possible? If it is and you do it, please tell me, and I'd love to know what challenges you come across, if any. And I think I'd also love to hear from others who maybe think this is a naive view of the world. Is it, you know, maybe those that believe it isn't possible? Anyway, David Florence signing off. Bye for now.